Hi everybody, welcome back to Angie's Answers. Today what I want to show you is putting the binding on a quilt, taking that quilt project and flipping it upside down. A little bit different. So we have a video that we're posted on how to put the binding on with the long arm, looking at it from the front side, but this project here has a really thick backing on it. So I want to be able to start by putting the binding on the backing of the quilt, and then I'm going to wrap it around and finish it to the front of the quilt. So I still want to do it on my long arm because the weight of the quilt is all being held up by my roller bars. But first thing I need to do is take this project off. I just finished quilting this last border. This project here was a quilt that my husband's grandma had made. It was in tatters. She had tied it and a lot of the seams were coming apart. There were some missing blocks. A lot of them were just totally ripped open. So I took it apart and then I actually used the backing fabric to help fill in where some of those missing holes were. So as you see it come out, it's not the most beautiful quilt, but it does have a lot of sentimental value. So this one, like I said, was made by my husband's grandma, and I am finishing it for him as a present. So he doesn't know about it yet. So I finished quilting this quilt. I just did a big free motion meander just so I could watch as I was quilting to make sure none of those seemed open. So now what I need to do is I need to take this off of the frame. So I'm going to come to this end here and lift up on here and let that unroll that way. And then I'm going to lift up on this one and unroll that one too. Then, because we have our zipper system, I can unzip the project. I'm actually going to pull this through over this way. And unzip this one. Now we have a zipper here that we created that is called the flip zipper, or some people like to call it the oops zipper. So when you are pinning to your zippers, sometimes you can accidentally get one upside down. So we have this zipper here that is just sewn, two pieces sewn together, and we have the one end at the zipper on the one side and the other part of the zipper on the other side, and then we sew these together. So what this flip zipper is going to do, I'm going to zip it to the zipper that I have pinned to my backing fabric. And that's going to allow me to take the entire project and turn it upside down. I'm going to push it through these roller bars here, so I can have the entire quilt facing upside down now. And then this is still the correct zipper part that I need on my left-hand side. So then I can take to this canvas and zip that back together. So I didn't have to repin anything. I do have one pin that just popped out, so let me fix that quick. But I don't have to take anything off. All I'm doing is zipping the zippers back together. I need the whole project this way. There we go. So this I'm going to let just totally float, hang all the way to the floor like that. But I can see right here, this is where my stitch line was, my basting line was, when I first secured that top edge of the quilt to the batting and to the backing fabric. So that's what I'm going to use for my reference guide. I'm going to take our binding. I found the center of my binding. I'm going to push that through here, line that up on the center of the quilt. Line up those two center marks and then just pull that binding over to where that corner is here. Make sure I don't have a seam in this corner at all. Then I'm going to go check the other corner and make sure there's not a seam over there either. That looks great over there. There's no seams near my corners. So I can take this safety pin back out where I had marked that center. Then I'm going to start by mitering the corners. So if you want to see a close-up on how we miter the corners, go back to that original binding video and you'll be able to see a nice close-up view of how we do the stitching. But for this one, I just wanted to show you the overall, that you can take the quilt tops, and with that flip zipper, we can flip the entire project over. But we do that after we've quilted the entire quilt. The other thing that you could use this flip zipper for, say you had a decorative thread that you couldn't put through your needle because it's too thick, but it can run in your bobbin. So it's a fancy thread, a thicker thread that you want running in your bobbin. You would want your project flipped over like this, so then that fancy thread would be underneath and it would actually be quilting on your quilt top for you. So I'm just gonna sew a little bit of this so you can kind of see what it looks like. I need to start up here in my top corner. And remember, I'm using that basting line where I stitched. That's going to be my guide for where I'm lining up my binding. I am going to miter that top corner there. Bring my machine on, bring up my bobbin thread. Stitch to the corner and start working my way across. So I have the silver foot that came with the machine. That's the foot that I have on right now. You could also use the square foot. If you had the Handi Quilter square feet, you could use that 1/4 inch square foot because that's going to give you your guide. So what I'm doing right now is I'm lining up the binding with that basting stitch, and then I'm lining up my foot just in, so it's stitching that 1/4 inch line for me, and I'm gonna stitch across this entire top edge. I'll keep working at this, but this is going to attach this binding to the back side of our quilt. Then I'll be able to take it off of my machine on my table and trim it, so then I can wrap that binding back around to the front side. So this is one of my favorite ways to put on binding whenever you have really thick fabric like the fleece or the minky fabric. Or if you just would rather wrap from the back to the front, we're able to use that flip zipper to flip the entire project over. So I hope you enjoyed. If you'd like to see finished pictures of this quilt, I will be posting those on our Facebook page as well. I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks as always for watching. If you do have any questions, you can email us at quiltingconnectionwi@yahoo.com, or you can give us a call at 262-723-6775. And then don't forget to check out our website is longarmconnection.com. That's where you can find the zippers and that flip zipper. Thank you again and have a great day. Hi guys, sorry, one more thing I wanted to mention. If you did want to see up close and personal again how to do the rest of this binding, we do have the full video on how to do the binding on our YouTube channel, Angie's Answers. So if you wanted to see how we miter the corners and then also how we close up that binding, go back and find the original binding video, binding on the long arm, and it's on the front side of the quilt, but the method is the same when you're doing the binding on the long arm, whether it's on the backing fabric or on that front side of the quilt, whichever side. So if you did want to see all of that up close and personal, go ahead and find that other binding video that we've posted. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.